Okay guys, I know you've seen the title arrive. They have launched their first single family residential fund. This is the actually time they're actually doing a fund altogether. Normally they have it where you can invest in single family properties and you end up investing them one at a time. But this time they launched their first fund, which will be a group of properties where you kind of invest, similar just like every other REIT, but this is the first time that they have offered it before. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know what Arrive is an investing platform that allows you to invest in residential real estate and vacation rentals, get money from rental income, which in the form of dividend and house appreciation. If you want to see a more in-depth video, just check it out. They also had like an hour webinar going over all of it, but I'll highlight the major points. Now, I received an email about 2 days ago. It says our newest investment product launch coming this week. It's actually already there right here, and I'll click on it. I'll actually probably buy at least $100 of the fund just to track and see how it goes versus the ones I kind of picked. So I'm kind of excited. I even attended the webinar, but I'm just going to highlight this. It says Arrived Home Single Family Residential Fund, offering instant diversification and access to liquidity. So here's the major things that you can expect that the fund gives you the opportunity to. Instant diversification, since the fund consists of several properties. Investment liquidity, it says liquidity options starting 6 months after the initial investment. The current way it is with the individual properties they have now, you have to, it's like a 5 to 7 year holding period, so there's no way to, there's no liquidity there. But if when the fund, there will be liquidity after 6 months, and there will be a redemption period. End up going into it a little bit more details, but there will be a way you can redeem your money after the 6 month period. Another one they end up saying is higher maximum returns, simply because you can invest all your capital at one time, versus the other one you might have to wait till new properties come available. The other one is always available investing. That means you can invest at any particular time in the fund. And the other one is with the fund, it should be lower business operation costs. Now let's get into the juicy part. Here it is. These are the individual properties, but this is the first one, single family residential fund. As you can see right now, it has eight properties and 688 investors there. They just believe launched it today, 11:30. This video will probably come out well, this video will probably come out later today. It's 12 o'clock now, but anyway, that's besides the point. So here's the fund. They give you all the details. It shows you where all the properties. These are all the 8 properties. If you wanted to know, oh, what's exactly in the fund, these are the properties right there: Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Kentucky. So okay, so it's a mixed area, as you can see geographic there. Some over here, a lot of them in this particular area, but um, it's a pretty Texas, Colorado, Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. So okay, we have there. Now let's go over the details for this particular fund that they have. So it's just giving you some just general information. Arrived historical performance as far as dividend 4.3%, but also this is not including house appreciation. So you can, like I say, you can get returns from dividend or increase in value. So it depends on their particular strategy, whereas our approach is to provide a steady income and potential for long-term asset appreciation. So they have that as well. So let's scroll down to get more information about the fund. A lot of people might have asked this about the liquidity and fees. So here it is. It says Arrived Single Family Residential Fund has adopted a redemption plan designed to provide investors with the option for liquidity. At any time after 6 months for a particular investment, an investor may request a redemption of all or any portions of their shares with if approved. We will redeem it at the current share price at the end of the quarter. The redemption plan is subject to certain limitations, blah, blah, blah. So now they actually have it where if you wanted to redeem your money before that 5 to 7 year period, that's the time period that they have that you should at least be able to hold the money when you look at the individual, picking the individual properties. But now, so this is how it is. 6 months, so from 6 months to a year, um, you'll be able to redeem it. But there's a you can think about it as a 2% fee. 1 to 5 years, 1%, and more than 5 years, there would be, if you want to redeem your shares, there wouldn't be any particular fee at all or cost. Now, the thing about it is, I think this is good, simply because a lot of other platforms have it where that you can buy and sell at any particular time. So offering this particular fund to give liquidity, I think that's a good idea. And similar to this, a lot of times with Fundrise, it's kind of interesting, which is another real estate investing platform. If you want, you can just check the suggested videos. They started out as a fund. Now I noticed the other recent platforms, they allowed you to pick individual ones, and now they're kind of giving that option back to actually having a particular fund. Now, a lot that they do, there are a lot of other private REITs out there, but this is the first one that arrived have. Let's go over this, the asset management fees. So the asset management fees is 0.25 quarterly asset management fee. So I think that's the same as like 1% annual fee. I mean, managing a fund, I guess that's normal. I guess about 1%. I would say about 1% annual. So that's probably about the going rate for that particular fund. So you mostly want to remember that. So they just give you an example with a 0.25 quarterly asset management fee. It's equal to $2.50 for every $1,000 that you particularly invested. So the way it has it right now, as far as the total asset value, as far as net assets, 528,030. It's the total value of shares owned by investors. And by the way, this one has no leverage in right now. The funds has no leverage on it. Now these particular properties, they do, as far as they did ask a lot of particular questions regarding it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probably just end up picking one. Like each share is $10. You have to do $100, same as the other one. Okay, guys. So what we're going to end up doing is I'm actually buy the fund. It's $100 minimum. 10 shares, you get a 100 shares for $1,000. For 500 shares, $5,000, and for 1,000 shares, $10,000. Just going to try it out, see how the fund does. Going to get 10 shares for $100. Continue. Put my initial there and confirm. Okay, so it says shares purchased for fund, single family residential fund complete. Now return. So right now, oh, boom, right there. Oh, now let's look at my account and see that it didn't probably show up yet. So probably got to give it some time to show up, because I don't think it showed up yet. Let's go back to the particular fund. By the way, if you have any particular questions, let me know in the comments below. Some of the questions that they went through the webinar entailed as far as what happened if everybody end up wanting to sell, like how would that particular work. In the webinar they went over saying some type of rule where said something along says there was type of rule where they will only be able to liquidate 20% of the assets, or some 20% of the total assets or something. They would be able to liquidate, only be able to liquidate 20% of it. So I'm just saying it at least gives them an option. Of course, it's a request. So if there was too many people sell at once, they wouldn't have the ability to grant it. But it does give them an option in like normal circumstances. Now another question they asked was was these exclusive properties, or was these the ones you can also find on in the individual ones? And they pretty much said these particular properties are the ones that you can also they have where you can get them individually as well. I do think that the fact that they give investors an option to get individual properties, a fund where they don't have to handpick it, I think that's a good thing. Simply because some people, they might not want to handpick it, they just rather things to be passive. I do like it where, because before you kind of had to wait for a particular property to come, another one. Some people just kind of would like it to be completely passive. Now they do have other platforms that offer that, like Fundrise and other ones out there as well. One of their major selling points was because one of the people asked about, so if you're going to just do a fund, why wouldn't you go with the Vanguard one or Rank Real Estate Fund? And the best argument that they particularly had that I've seen was it's not directly correlated with the market. So if something happens with the stock market, a lot of times that particular fund will be affected, not necessarily correlated with the market. So if something happened on an economic standpoint, with regarding stocks or interest rates or something like that, it could have a big impact on the general market, where this one is not so much correlated to the market. So um, the local properties could still be fine versus looking at things from like a market or global perspective. Another one, you can actually know full transparency, as they were saying, the properties that you actually own. You can actually you know a lot more about what's inside the fund. So some people that's kind of important. And I'll give you guys an update. This is my particular portfolio. Just go over real fast. My initial investment was $800. The balance now is $836. Remember, in the portfolio, they don't account for the rental income. So for appreciation returns, that's just for house appreciation, $36. And for rental income, which I average 3.7% yield, $34.30. And as far as my long-term occupancy rate, 100%. So as you can see here, the initial share price was always $10, and then if it's above that, it's an increase. These actually, because the property value end up dropping, probably because of interest rates and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, I just mainly wanted to go over the particular fund. I set through the webinar out. Actually, the webinar was actually an hour and 30 minutes, but I just wanted to cover the highlights. I'll probably definitely try to get a lot more active in the community. Seems like they have like weekly webinars and a whole bunch of information as far as interest and insight with it. I think I will definitely try to get more involved in the community so I can bring you guys a lot more value. A lot of these platforms I go over so much that it's been a while before I actually look at them. But this one, it seems like they have a really good community. So I'm definitely going to take part in that. But let me know what you think about it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Out.